YouTube, the Anime Ref here, and yes, I'm the first one to get content back on the channel, and if you're noticing that there is no new intro, the boss is still working on my custom intro. As soon as I heard that we were getting custom intros, I was like, whoa, that's so cool! Except, I worry that the boss won't have enough stock footage of us to use for the song. And to that I say, boss, here's your easy solution. You could just use clips of us grooving, vibing, dancing to the music of our episodes. It's the easiest stock footage we have. And unless you need a clip of me using this red flag, but I think that I'm sure you have a clip of me using the red flag, boss. It's gotta be in the vault somewhere. In any case, I'm the first one to do stuff since the big Patreon incident that has crippled the channel for an entire week. And what better one to come back to than Sakamoto days? We're on the next episode, which is, I think, episode 14? Is it 14? Yeah. So, going into this one, this is going to be the Nagumo episode. Pretty much. Like, I was really hyped looking forward to last episode because of Osaragi. And forgetting that it's Lu's final moment in the spotlight. That's her last big role in the series, as far as I've read, is that fight specifically. Because the author really wrote himself into a corner with Lu, didn't he? It's kind of sad. They introduced her as early as they could, and they skipped over specific chapters of the manga, which I pointed out earlier, but only to now have to shaft her because the author is like, yeah, I'm going to write other female characters, which will be coming up in the next couple episodes. Speaking of those episodes to come, now that I've read the entirety of the JCC test arc, which is coming right after the arc that we are on, I'm going to be analyzing the intro again under this new pretense that I've read the arc. Of course, I'll probably have like a little index card. I'm not going to have a note from the boss like the wizard gets. I'll have it handwritten myself to remind me of the names so I can point them out to you in that reaction when we get over there. Okay? But this is basically going to be Nagumo's episode. I knew this was coming. I am so looking forward to this because as much as I was for the Osaragi fight last episode, I was like, oh, Nagumo better have a decent episode. And I have a feeling it won't disappoint. So, next time you see me, will be that post-episode discussion. And cut. Okay, post-episode discussion time. Well, I'm sorry that the analyzing of the intro took longer than I thought it would. I had to make sure I had names correct, and I cannot believe I forgot what one of them looked like, and that one of them wasn't even in the intro, and I was confusing him for someone else, and that was a whole thing. I had to remind myself that of who was who, so I'm sorry that analysis went longer than expected, but as for the episode itself, it was pretty par for the course. Ever since I read these chapters all that long ago, I was so looking forward to this episode, because not only did I love Osaragi fighting Dump, but I loved Nagumo fighting Minimalist. I don't like calling him that. That name is stupid. I prefer to call him the Crusher. Or wait, I don't have to call him anything because he's dead now. Good job, Nagumo. We got a hint of his ability, even though Sakamoto Days does not do anyone any favors when it comes to explaining abilities. This is the end of the spectrum where it doesn't tell you anything, unless it has to. Because I know there are a lot of people that complain when people talk about their ability out loud for the sake of the audience. And it's definitely a victim of its time. But Sakamoto Days is the opposite, where there is no explanation, and you're just left to be like, that's a thing that happens, I guess. Because Dump never bothered to explain her spikes last episode. It's not like, what's her name from One Piece, where it was a devil fruit. It's a pretty early devil fruit, too, by most people's standards. You probably wouldn't remember. She was a Baroque Works agent. It was Nami's first real fight in the series with her climate act. But it's basically, she's basically a version of Dump, but the difference there is devil fruit power versus randomness. Same goes for Nagumo's ability. The way he shapeshifts. The fight kind of gave a tiny explanation that you could like theorize how it works. He goes into people's shadow, or not shadow, but like their reflection in a mirror, and he takes on their appearance from that mirrored surface, and then he can switch back at will. And I'm guessing he can only do it for certain people as long as he has a reflection to work off of, because that's pretty consistent with his appearances. Remember his first appearance? He was Sakamoto, because he probably saw Sakamoto's reflection somewhere, copied him, went to the store, and then got there before the real Sakamoto. Okay? So it lines up, and every other time Nagumo seems to do his trick, it seems to work. It also makes sense that his weapon would be such a shiny, giant pocket knife. It gives off a reflection that he could use for his ability. Now, of course, I'm just spitballing here. If the show ever gives a real explanation, I'll go with that. But I'm theorizing that's what it is. And look at me. I'm the ref. I don't even have that princess with me. Take that, wizard. In any case, Sakamoto and crew went to Granny Miya, who seems to be the voice of every anime grandma character in fiction. Like, it's the same voice as Turbo Granny. Wizard, you'll have to, like, confirm that one for me. That's Turbo Granny's voice, isn't it? She's in so many shows, like you wouldn't believe, and yet I don't even know her name. But it's a very specific voice, so it makes sense. You're not gonna hear that voice for a certain character unless it makes sense. Which is something that dubs are getting better at in the last decade. Matching voices to what a character's appearance looks like. Unless the point of the character is that their voice doesn't match their body. You know, like a weird parody situation. But regardless, this episode was fun. Heisuke got in on the action. Apart showed up. Sakamoto learned a little more about his true physiology and stuff. And taking on Apart at Tokyo Tower. So, the big episode that I've been waiting for is technically next episode, which, funny enough, will be dropping tomorrow because of the whole week-long hiatus crap that's happened on this channel. Not our fault, by the way. It was the stupid service of Patreon. In any case, do I even need to say why? This episode was great. For all the people that are complaining about animation, go away. I don't know why people even complain about animation. Animation is so subjective. Yeah, it looks bad. To one person, maybe. And even if you want to say a blanket majority, like even if you wanted to say 80% of people watching did not like its animation, there's still 20% that is either undecided, they like how it looks, or they could care less. Because guess what? There are people out there that exist who don't care how it looks. Although the one sin on anime forever will always be Berserk 2016. Nobody likes that one. Not even me. Nope. But that's like one out of millions. So you know what my point is? If you personally like something, you don't have to be too afraid to speak your mind if you do, because I'm supposed to be a channel of positivity. The other guys, me, we may have our moments where it doesn't feel that way, but this channel is supposed to be a positive sphere of sunshine. Everyone is supposed to just come here to have fun. So if you want to come here to let off steam, as long as you don't mean anything that you say, by all means, let off steam. As long as you're not being rude to me or anyone else on this channel, we'll be good. Does that make sense? Well, in any case, thank you all so much for watching. Hope you liked it. Hit the like button, subscribe, share the video with a friend. Make sure you join the Patreon. And of course, keep your notifications on, because as always, I will see you in the next one. Goodbye.